just briefly talk about the anatomy of scholarly articles. And in this case, this is specifically regarding psychology and behavioral sciences, education, and social sciences disciplines. Understanding the anatomy of a scholarly article can better help you understand what's going on in the article, as well as how to read that article. So to get started, you always have the title of the article at the top. And then you'll find it in orange. That is author information. It tells you who the authors are, where they're located, what their positions are, their institution, as well as a way to contact them. In yellow, you can see the abstract and keywords for this article. And that's a short summary of the research questions and the methodology and the findings. Then there is an introduction and literature review. And you can see the introduction is without color, and the green highlight starts the literature review. The literature review reviews the research that has already been conducted on this topic. So it helps frame and provide a foundation of the research that is going to be done. It gives sort of a background of what has been found on this topic already. Next comes the methods section. The research questions may be at the end of the introduction and literature review, or it might be at the beginning of the methods section. And the methodology talks about the research design, who the participants are, how the data was collected and what the participants did, what kind of analysis was done on the data that was collected, and it explains what that study looked like. You then move into the results section, and you can see the results in pink here. And the results look at if it's quantitative and there's hypotheses, it lays those out and answers each of the hypotheses and the research questions. So if it's a quantitative analysis, you might find many charts and graphs. If it's qualitative, you might find long narratives that come out of the interview transcripts. But the goal of this is to answer the research questions. The next section is the discussion section, and this looks at those findings from this study and compares it to the findings of previous studies, comparing and contrasting how this piece of research influences the literature on a larger scale. And then we come to the conclusions and implications. Why is this study important for practice and for research? From the findings of this study, how does that frame studies in the future? What are those recommendations for future studies after the authors have learned from the research that they have just conducted? And lastly is the reference section, and with the list of references in alphabetical order. Something to consider as we flip through these is that I just took out the initial pages for each of these sections. This article in its entirety was much longer than what you saw. And so expect that the articles that you read for these projects will be much longer.